Hello, hello. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Michaela. Yes, and it's a pleasure to be here talking again about how we involve all of these people that are on the planet in doing things ethically. In this case, the opportunities for generating data sets for training AI. So I have had the pleasure to meet some people here, but for those people who don't know me, my work comes from an eco-critical perspective. I create artworks, installations, music and performances that explore contemporary issues to do with environmental and social justice. And from that perspective, I tend to engage with technology on multiple levels, both in terms of developing it, sometimes releasing it, and sometimes exploring its meaning in terms of the way that we live in society. And so when it comes to working with AI, I was not immediately sold, right? And I've been wondering how my practice can interact with this new phenomenon. And one of the ways that I'm intrigued about this kind of explosion of development that we've been seeing is to think about what that means aesthetically for us. And one of my a very recent work, which I'm going to be performing on tomorrow, is exploring this change in diversity from the corporeal realm, where we had diminishing biodiversity and diminishing kind of aesthetic diversity in the built environment, and how there's a concurrent increase in the number of objects in the digital realm due to generative AI, right? So these are the kind of entry points into AI that I've been exploring so far. And there's another strand to my practice, which is working with people and working with people for the design of infrastructure and technologies, as well as participatory artistic research around our engagement with the landscape through sound and DIY science, right? So this is the other strand of things. And they all come together in a new project that I'm going to be talking about. But I wanted to, this is kind of part two, right? I spoke a little bit about this on Monday. So I want to bring back the AI baby, which was introduced on Monday, in the context of the AI baby being fed data sets that are going to change how it grows, right? And in the field of Monday, I was talking in very general terms about the AI baby, right? But actually, what's happening, and there are increasing numbers of tools to facilitate this, is that there are more and more agents that are being trained on different data sets, right? And I think one of the things that really struck me from Robert's talk was the idea that actually at some point they're all going to be able to talk to each other, just like all the webs manage to talk to each other, and then that's going to be a massive step change. But how do we make sure that these babies grow up to be at least not malevolent, right? And that means that we need to put in the good stuff, things that are representative, that are open, things that are just. And one of the ways that we can think about doing that is by addressing participation, so involving voices of others, be they human or non-human, in the information that goes into the raising of the AI baby. And there are like since the beginning, there have been things that are determined, like named to be participatory methodologies in AI, whether that's like Mechanical Turk or people going through and trying to improve image recognition or algorithm performance. And that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is coming from a really bottom-up participatory methodology, where you can say that the agency lives with the participants. So at the end of my talk on Monday, I raised the provocation: what if we train AI not on the fragments of the shape of the world that is, but rather on the shapes of the world to which we collectively aspire? And I think that this is one of the points where participatory methodologies can really, combined with AI, have the potential to really provide something new and interesting, rather than a kind of regurgitation and homogenization of aesthetics, which is currently a danger. So I want to talk to you about a new project that I'm extremely excited about. I'm going to launch it on Monday, and it's called Coexistence in the Post-Petro-Plasticine, which is a terrible, terrible title, and an artwork with a better name is going to come out of it. But I was very lucky to get Starts for Water 2 funding to produce this artwork in the context of the Port of Galway. This is the Port of Galway, which is undergoing redevelopment process. And the proposition is to explore ways that through harbourside developments, humans can live in a more symbiotic way with the sea and the shoreline, which is something that it's very close to my heart as a topic. And I wanted to understand then how the people who actually live near the port feel about this proposition and feel about the port. And for that, I decided to work with communities in the Port of Galway area to envision collectively how one may live more symbiotically with the sea in their context, right? And so, all right. I need to finish this sentence before I go on to the next slide. So the idea is to run a series of workshops and to engage with the community in multiple modes in order to create a data set of visions and inspirations that can be from one's own imagination or from folk tales or from literature or from any source whatsoever, but to bring together these sources of inspiration and to train an AI agent on it to help us envision collectively new futures, right? There's a second part to that, which is, and this is also, I included it for all the MTF tech nerds. I'm going to be making a new instrument, right? And the new instrument is called the Symbiophone, and it is going to play the sound of microplastic in the water of the Port of Galway. So it will create sound and data that will feed into the final installation, which talks to the water and it talks to the audience, and it creates with the AI these visions of a symbiotic future. And why microplastic? Because microplastic is pervasive, it is everywhere, it's in all of our bodies. We coexist with microplastic now and forever, right? And it's it is in fact an agent both of coexistence and of a new wilderness. It's a whole new aesthetic. So the symbiophone is giving voice to this mode of coexistence with the sea that is going to far outlive humans and individual human lives. So now to the nitty-gritty, because there are things that one needs to do for best practice in terms of engaging with communities, and there are things that one needs to do to generate data sets that are suitable for AI, and bringing them together is the new thing that's going to be happening in this project, right? So I'm going to be doing all of the best practice things that I mentioned on Monday. So I'm going to be researching the key actors. I'm going to be working with them to create stakeholder maps. So who is going to be affected by what comes out of this project? What are the things that could come out of the project, and who should have ownership of them? Who should have access to them? Who should have a say in which parts are private, which parts are public, you know? And what are the risks to all of the people that I might be involved with? And then it's a matter of reaching out to community members and earning trust, if I deserve it, earning trust, and inviting them to begin to work with me on co-creating these ideas and perspectives on how we might reconfigure human relationships with the sea, right? So there are lots of specifics in here that I won't go into, but one of the areas of tension is the fact that this kind of participatory process is not big data, right? It's small, detailed, and highly diverse data, and I need to find a way to bridge what the minimum is that's needed to get a proper outcome, and how much I can ask of the community that I'm going to be working with. And so there's a lot of pre-preparation that needs to be done in order to set realistic goals for myself, but also realistic goals for the community members. So all of this, determining the format of the data, the design of the data set, how the data set will be annotated, how the metadata will be collected, creating modes by which people can easily create things that will work, right? So that their effort is not lost. It's my responsibility to make sure that the time that people are going to be giving to the project is properly represented and will be valuable to them. And collective decision making on the fate of the data set, how we deal with it, alongside, you know, the regular kind of GDPR consent forms and so on, and all of the kind of I mean, I'm saying this because it's a whole package, and I want to show how one can create a respectful environment to do this kind of thing. And so, you know, consent form design is like super unsexy, but it's incredibly important, right? All of these points, it's a lot of pre-preparation before you can even go in and start working with people. And these are the key things to consider, and I won't go through them entirely now. But they're the central questions that I also presented on Monday, which are important when one is gathering data in a participatory manner. But the main thing is, like, who benefits, and do the people involved have a say? Is there reciprocity? Once all of that hard work is done, then I'm going to be delivering a series of workshops, so developing relationships over time. And the first workshop is essentially taking all of that pre-preparation and talking with the community members about it, and reconfiguring the problem space. And one of the things that's really challenging for that is to say, okay, it can completely be reconfigured, reimagined. The project design might need to be done again if it's not fitting to the conceptualization of the community that I'm working with, right? And then the current plan is to then run another workshop where we collect the visions, possibly two, depends on how it goes, and then to ensure feedback to the community mid-process. So we play with the AI agent, we play with the symbiophone, and we talk through, again, what's happening and what's going to come out of it, and whether the community members are happy with the representations that are going to be coming out of it. And if they're not, what can we do about it? And finally, to ensure that the premiere of the work is going to happen locally first, before it goes off and tours everywhere else. So, yeah, that's the kind of overarching way that the project will be delivered. And hopefully we can have more reasonable visions of the future of the Port of Galway and more livable ones than what came out when I said, give me a futuristic coexistence picture of the Port of Galway. Yeah, great. That's it. Thank you very much.